And we are back for more Minecraft. And I mean the practice for Formula 1 and 2 have happened. And my first practice did nothing happen. The second practice did some more stuff happen. But not at all interesting, because it was a lot of wet. This is 79. Am I right? 1379. Let's see how many can we get. I mean, it could be 1,400 today. Yeah, so nothing interesting happened in Formula 1. So, but what I do know, it's something happening in the car. So that is where I will start. Start with, let's see. Yeah, start with in the car. And let's see, what do we have more? Some more maybe information about the new Formula 1 car. Probably not. Maybe anything information about Carlos Sainz, Johnson, Williams. Then we have the Williams Canadian Grand Prix team Torque. I still don't know what the fuck that is. But like I said, in the car we will start with. And it's McLaren cuts ties with Janos, Jon Kos. I don't know his name. The only thing I know is something happened after the recent race. Apparently his fans wrote a lot of stuff to share. But let's hear what all the stuff is about.
Wasn't what I expected or wanted to be talking about today, but here we are. Juncos Hollinger Racing and Arrow McLaren. I don't know if you know this, but it was something that I talked about briefly at the end of last season and was announced towards the end, I think towards the end of last season, maybe into the off season, that they had formed a technical and marketing alliance, both of those teams. Well, today it was announced that that technical alliance is now no longer happening. Juncos Hollinger Racing and Arrow McLaren are no longer working together in any capacity. And if you haven't been paying attention to the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, you might not know what's going on. So in this video, I'll try to explain this.
Or I know some stuff, but not all.
Situation as best I can, because it's not the first time something like this has happened in recent months.
Oh yeah. Apparently, this is not the first time with him also. So.
But it's certainly the one that's had the most repercussions. And I'll also kind of give my take on online hate and what the heck are we actually even talking about in IndyCar anymore. So,
I mean, it's IndyCar. Hating on other people sounds more fun than IndyCar can ever be.
First, let's take a look at the incident that incited all of this drama. So this is...
Sitter du
no, go
bara
ahead.
hemma och ugglar? Så här kan du tjäna extra pengar online.
Nice. But yeah. This is the thing.
Théo Pourchaire making a...
Okay, Pourchaire did... He tried really a lot to get him past there.
A very overly optimistic move on Augustine Canapino and several other drivers at the Detroit Grand Prix. Now, this was this incident I was specifically thinking of when I mentioned in the video that you could drop a freaking atomic bomb on the race cars and you could make stupid moves and get away with it, right? So I think most people would say, objectively, this wasn't a very smart move. Oh,
True.
look, an advertisement. So I think most
Hey, I also got an ad.
of us can look
Nice.
at this and say that was a pretty stupid move. Shouldn't have happened. Rookie mistake, though, for sure. Rookie mistake by Théo Pourchaire. Now, maybe it wasn't
rookie, so.
a mistake in the sense that the car survived it because you can, again, drop an atomic bomb on the Dallara chassis at this point, especially at low speeds, and nothing's going to happen to it. But the Agustin Canapino fans, one of the several drivers that he hit in this incident, got very upset. And they've gotten upset before, and when they do, it gets ugly on social media very fast. So when this happened, Juncos Hollinger Racing and Arrow McLaren put out a joint statement together. And it read this: "The past 24 hours have unfortunately provided our teams with a stark reminder about the necessity for respect and civility in our online interactions. Social media allows us to engage with our fans around the world, but it is important that when we interact with each other, we do so in a respectful and safe environment. We will not tolerate any form of abuse or discrimination, and those participating in such actions are not welcome in our online community and will be blocked. The NTT IndyCar
And
Series
the
delivers
first
dynamic action on the racetrack and
Oh,
incredible
100%
access for
agree.
fans. But we must remember that behind the wheel, the pit wall, or the monitor, we are all human beings. It is vital that we collectively maintain a safe and welcoming community for all involved." So this is Juncos Hollinger and Arrow McLaren putting out this statement. Well,
Okay,
then Théo
copium.
Pourchaire responded to this and went into a little more detail, and you'll see some of the replies, and we'll get to that, why those replies are important. Théo says, I'm sad I've received so much hate and death threats over the last 24 hours for such a small incident in the Detroit Grand Prix. I hope people can all
Actually,
understand."
true. The fuck? Men, vet du vad man säger? För that bad overtake.
And that we are humans, we can make mistakes, but it's not normal to abuse people online. Please be kind to each other. To which McLaren CEO Zach Brown responded, "It is sad and pathetic. Teo, keep doing what you're doing, champ." And you'll notice the reply directly under Zach is Callum Ilott. "Head up, mate, only makes you stronger." And he speaks from experience.
Okay, man. I'm not sure you want to show that you're on your driver's side, but holy shit. I feel like too much.
Because a very similar
Right
thing
there.
happened to him throughout last year, starting at Long Beach, where Agustin Canapino and Callum Ilott got into each other while Augustine was leading the race. Big strategical error on the Juncos Hollinger part to have that situation happen in the first place, but it happened. Wasn't Callum's fault, but the Argentinian fans did not see it the same way. Callum got a lot of hate online, and essentially the same thing played out. And Juncos Hollinger got a lot of criticism in the media for not quickly responding to the hate that Callum Ilott was receiving online. So this time it looked like they had responded quickly, and it was they were doing everything that I
Wait,
suppose
wait.
you can with
Sure.
people, acting out behind screens to at least respond and accept the situation that was going on. Well, then this tweet came out from one of the South American commentators for IndyCar, and this said Callum Pourchaire, which in the most charitable interpretation is that essentially he's pointing out that it is the same situation over and over again with Callum and Théo Pourchaire receiving hate online for running into Agustin Canapino. The not so charitable interpretation would be that he is pointing out that both Callum and Pourchaire are kind of playing by the same playbook, going online and, I guess, quote unquote, crying about getting hate on social media.
Okay.
That's the uncharitable interpretation of it. I think probably
True.
the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It's probably a little bit of both. But this tweet is only significant because Agustin
God damn it.
Canapino liked it. And I think that has kind of unraveled this entire relationship. Because breaking this morning was this, that Arrow McLaren...
Man, that will be something. One like And then you're gone.
Terminates commercial alliance with Juncos Hollinger Racing. Arrow McLaren IndyCar team has terminated its commercial alliance with Juncos Hollinger Racing, effective immediately. This decision follows the actions that occurred earlier this week on social media in regards to an on-track incident at the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. As reflected in the team's social media community code, Arrow McLaren will not tolerate any form of abuse or discrimination and totally condemns the online abuse directed towards our team and driver. Now, Juncos Hollinger Racing, they also put out their own statement on the first incident, and then they put their statement out about getting fired from Arrow McLaren, I guess. As of today, our strategic partnership with Arrow McLaren has come to a conclusion. We appreciate the time spent with McLaren over the past months. They are a world-class organization, which we enjoy competing against week in, week out. While the results of our partnership did not mature, we have the utmost respect for them and am confident in the future of Juncos Hollinger Racing. So, first and foremost, my thoughts on this. It's not cool at all to, like, hate on anybody online. Like, criticism, when it's fair, fine. You know,
so you can still hate people.
Obviously, death threats, not cool. You can criticize, and this is another thing that I know I strive for here on this channel. I try my best not to criticize the person. I try to criticize the content, right? I can say Théo Pourchaire made a stupid move and ran into a bunch of guys and shouldn't have done that. But that's not a commentary on him as a person. I don't wish anything ill on him.
Well, you said he did a stupid move. To do a stupid move, doesn't that mean he's stupid?
You know, you can separate those two things. So I'm not sure why this keeps happening with particularly the Argentinian Agustin Canapino fans. But it does for whatever reason. And so I guess I would say it's okay to criticize. It's not okay to go beyond that line. And clearly it's gone beyond that line a couple of times.
Like one.
And I think Arrow McLaren made the right move to terminate the agreement, because not only is Théo Pourchaire an active driver with McLaren for the rest of the season, and if things like this are going to happen, regardless, it's a bad look to be associated with that sort of thing. Even if it comes down to liking a tweet, which, you know, I guess the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is setting the precedent that liking a tweet is grounds for terminating business deals. Don't like that so much.
Wait, you don't? Aren't you from America? Is it how you should do stuff? You write or like something wrong. And for that you should be gone.
Obviously, there's a lot more, though, to this, right? It's not just the fact that Agustin Canapino liked the tweet. It's the fact that not only do you have this Théo Pourchaire issue, but you also have the Callum Ilott issue that happened last year. And both of these drivers, Théo and Callum, are drivers who have driven for McLaren this year while Juncos has been partnered with them. And potentially both of those drivers could be in the conversation driving for McLaren a lot longer than just this year.
Is that one more?
So from McLaren's perspective, makes total sense. You had to end this deal. I mean, unless... I don't know if firing Canapino would smooth that over. I mean, you just have too much... You have too much there to or you don't have enough, I don't think, but you also have too much baggage, right? Like, it's a weird... The whole thing's a weird situation. Very, very weird situation with Juncos and McLaren. And I think everybody is kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Because if you're an Argentinian team, can you fire the Argentinian superstar? That's kind of where I wonder, you know, how you could get away with doing that. And so I guess McLaren not really having any kind of direct ties to Canapino, they can cut ties. This is the thing that I'm just kind of... I'll say this, like, to me, these sorts of things are what turns me off of like the IndyCar thing. Because
Yeah, yellow
I get the feeling sometimes, and I understand this is like a justified thing to be talking about, right? It's important to talk about this. It's important to, you know, call out bad behavior online and say, okay, yeah, maybe don't send death threats to the race car driver, right?
do.
But the fact that
Oh, what's it called? Free speech, right?
this is like the only thing we're talking about going into Road America. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any other storylines that are out there. I guess we're talking about Fox Sports, and I guess we're talking about who could be in the 66 Meyer-Shank racing car going forward. But we're not really thinking about the drivers or the cars or the teams or intrigue like that. None of those stories seem to be compelling enough to talk about. And it's not just isolated to this incident, right? It feels like a lot of times the IndyCar media cycle is so heavily focused on trying to drum up off-track drama, whether justified...
I mean, it's IndyCar. The on-track is so boring, so the off-track is more interesting.
...or not, that it totally ignores and looks past the racing product.
Because, man, it's IndyCar. What the fuck do you think? IndyCar will never be better than whatever it is.
And that's either one of two things. That's our fault in the media for talking about stuff like this because it gets clicks, and maybe potentially it's the only stuff that gets clicks. But I think it's also potentially an indictment on the product, which surprises me because all we ever hear about is how great the product is, and yet we're not talking about it, which is a weird
because it's not
contrast.
Great.
And it's also weird coming right off of the Indy 500, where everything feels good and warm. And
I mean, come on. The only reason people watch IndyCar is because the 500, and when that's gone, nothing more interesting to be watching. So be happy that IndyCar at least have the 500 race.
And fuzzy, and we're talking about things that actually matter on the racetrack. And then the minute we leave Indianapolis, everything shifts, and we're back to talking about drama. And it feels like the drama is the only thing that we have to talk about. I don't know what the solution to that problem is, but I'm going to point it out as a problem. And it's a problem that it needs to be fixed. I don't know how you fix it. I mean, I'm open to suggestions, but
you can't.
Yeah, it does.
Well, the only fix you can do is go from IndyCar to do Formula 1.
It doesn't lend itself to making me compelled to get excited about like the future of like the rest of the season, right? I want compelling storylines. I want on-track rivalries. I want intriguing stuff.
Oh,
and to me, this is drama, but I don't think it's intriguing drama. It's just kind of sad and pathetic.
I still talk about it.
So, I'm not going to be Road America this weekend. The next IndyCar race I will be attending personally is Mid-Ohio. Now, on that subject, I teased a partnership coming up, potentially starting this weekend. That's not happening this weekend, but it will happen later on in the year. So stay tuned for that, potentially starting 2 weeks from now. So stay tuned on that one. But the good news is, if you're a member of the DL 500 Club, or if you are going to be a member of the DL 500 Club, I'm going to be streaming during the race for you members. So if you haven't signed up, maybe do so. I think it'll be a fun time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be good to your fellow man, and for the love of God, can we please talk about racing? Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.
No, fuck me.
Idag ska vi baka en riktigt smarrig lillo.
Oh, I hate clicking on fucking stuff. Wanted to just pause. Go away. Yeah. I mean, the race is the boring part. That's why everything else is interesting. But yeah, something more happened.
It's day one.
So let's see what more happened with this fucking Twitter drama in car.
Road America, and we are not talking about on-track things once again. We're talking about
Nice.
off-track things. And we're
Hi.
not talking about the podcast. We're talking about online
Yeah, you're talking about the only thing that are interesting in the
hate,
car.
and drivers are now being pulled out of race cars. And at this time, it is Augustine Canapino. Kind of the unthinkable yesterday. I even said I couldn't really see a scenario in which Augustine Canapino would not be in a Juncos Hollinger car. And now all of a sudden, 90 minutes before the practice session began today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Augustine Canapino made the decision to step out of the Juncos Hollinger car, and Nolan Siegel parked his Indy Next car, jumped out of it, got a seat fit, got into the Indy car, and began practicing for Juncos Hollinger Racing in the number 78 car. All the while, Romain Grosjean, the teammate, nosed it into the tire barrier very early on in the practice session. So one of the weirdest, like 2 hours for a team that I've ever seen. And I have a suspicion that this particular story is only just getting started. And really, it's a continuation
Can really more stuff happen? I feel like everything have happened.
of a story which started last year when there was some online things happening between Augustine Canapino, or perhaps more fittingly...
Oh shit, but there's that IndyCar shocker. What is happening? Okay, so that's only his title.
fans of Augustine Canapino and Callum Ilott online. We saw this repeated with Teo Pourchaire, and now things have been liked on Twitter, statements have been made, and Juncos and McLaren ended their partnership, which was
True.
a very bold move by McLaren, but one that I think was pretty popular online, considering the criticism of Canapino and Juncos for not addressing these things earlier and with more vigor. Well, now something has...
I mean, even if you did that, can it still happen?
really kind of come down the pipeline that is quite significant, and it has happened in very rapid succession. So let's look at the statement released.
I mean, if that worked, man, shouldn't a lot of new movies, shouldn't they never get hates done? If you can just tell people to stop hating bad stuff.
By Juncos Hollinger Racing, and we'll try to make some sense of exactly why this situation has happened. All right, so here is the statement released on the Juncos Hollinger Racing website. Nolan Siegel will be running in the number 78 entry in place of Augustine Canapino, who will be taking a leave of absence for this weekend's XPEL Grand Prix. The growth of online abuse and harassment resulting from the events of this week have led to a very difficult experience for Augustine, the team, and the entire IndyCar fan base. The safety of Augustine and the rest of the competitors has to be considered first and foremost. Abuse, hatred, harassment of any form is a detriment to this sport, and we must prioritize the mental and physical well-being of both of our drivers and our competition. Online abuse is unacceptable, and we need to ensure that our drivers are prepared both mentally and physically when they get into the car, said Brad Hollinger, co-owner of Juncos Hollinger Racing.
Man, so this Twitter drama is the most interesting that are happening now in the car. That's somewhat sad, you can say.
We are saddened by the events that led to this scenario. Juncos Hollinger Racing is working directly with IndyCar to create a better community for our fans, drivers, team members, uniting to make IndyCar a welcome sport for all. So this press release is very interestingly worded, I would say, because even if I tuned in, I'm making this while practice is going on, by the way. So I tuned into the first 30 minutes of practice on Peacock, and there was talk about Augustine's mental health, specifically for him. And it's hard to kind of understand exactly why this decision was made. Was it Augustine's decision? Was it Brad Hollinger? Like, this is the first time I can remember Brad Hollinger talking since I think they signed Callum Ilott. I mean, I cannot remember him talking to the media very much. And obviously this isn't talking to the media, but this is a press release statement.
Nice.
So I'm curious,
One more
because I
reflection.
saw some comments yesterday talking about what Brad thinks about this. Now, Brad Hollinger, if you don't know, was associated, if I remember correctly, with an AJ Foyt entry at the Indy 500 a couple of years ago. He was also a major investor for a while in, I believe it was Williams Grand Prix racing. So he has been a major player in racing, and up until this point has been fairly silent on a lot of these issues. It's been mostly Ricardo Juncos who's been at the forefront. So it's interesting to see Brad at the forefront of this. There's a talk about, or there's the line about the safety of Augustine needs to be considered. So here's my speculation, or at least one potential theory, I think, is that, from my understanding, Augustine was at the autograph session, which took place earlier today. And I'm curious if perhaps he got a sense there, maybe this was the first time he's really faced significant backlash, like face-to-face, from some of this stuff. But I still don't think that would be something that would necessitate... I mean, it would have to be... You'd have to hear something so heinous and putrid and just so unwelcoming that you would want to step out of the car. To me, this just seems like... It's much deeper than this press release makes it out to be. And I'm curious as well, that the line at the end is interesting, which says Juncos Hollinger Racing is working directly with IndyCar to create a better community. Well, what does that mean?
Don't know.
Was a suggestion from IndyCar to remove Augustine from the car?
I mean, that would be something.
I'm curious about that as well. There's some things that, if you read between the lines of this press release...
If that's true, man, Formula 1 or FIA should look that up. How to remove Kevin Magnussen from the car. Can we maybe ban him, finally?
You can insinuate a whole lot. The problem is we don't have a lot of facts, and we're not going to have a lot of facts for a while. And now I wonder, okay, Nolan Siegel. Let's talk about this choice as well as for a driver. Now, presumably he was one of the only licensed drivers on site to take a seat. I think that's the very first thing we have to think about, right? I mean, he almost, or I shouldn't say almost. I should say he was considered for the 17 car at the Indy 500 because he was the only licensed driver who wasn't currently assigned to a race car. Now, guys like Connor Daly, are they around at Road America this weekend? Are there other licensed drivers who could have theoretically taken this seat who don't currently have an Indy Next ride? Sure. Obviously, Nolan's raced in a road course this season, which probably puts him above other people. Was Tristan Vautier walking around?
God damn it.
Nolan Siegel does have some connections to McLaren, which is interesting. The aforementioned 17 car and the potentiality of him driving that earlier this year. But also, he's about to go race in the 24 Hours of Le Mans for United Autosports, which is partially owned by Zach Brown. So he's on that radar. And, of course, Tony Kanaan jumped on that pit box at one point to help out Nolan try to find some speed for the Indianapolis 500 earlier this year. So it's weird to see a driver, while not directly affiliated with McLaren, is close enough where he's jumping into the seat the day after McLaren and Juncos part ways. I think that's an interesting aspect to this as well. So now the question, I suppose, is, does Agustin Canapino return to this car, and if he does, when? And
I feel like he should. Why remove him?
And also, I need a better explanation as to exactly why. Did he receive threats, and were those credible? Like, yeah, some of this doesn't
sounds like a lot of question and so little answers.
Sit right with me, because a lot of it doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, there's a reason for that, right? So this will continue to develop for sure. This was not the only news item that broke today. I suppose we'll briefly touch on this. This would have been the big story today, but obviously it's not anymore. That David Malukas will drive the number 66 Meyer Shank Racing car for the rest of this season. Now, there had been a couple of other names that had been floating around. In fact, I was pretty convinced until I wasn't that Hunter McElroy was going to be the driver who was going to get this ride. He was talked about quite a bit, but he ultimately did not get it. I got it from a very, very good source yesterday that David was the driver, and it turned out to be absolutely right. So you know who you are. Thank you very much for that bit of info. I kept it quiet. David Malukas, I think this is great for him. It's exactly the type of ride that he that I think he was looking for, because I got to speak to him briefly at Indy, and without going into super duper specifics about what we talked about, you know, the impression I got from David was that he was not willing to take a ride that, you know, wasn't going to further his career. And so from this perspective, a ride opened up, which is potentially a very good one, a very strong car, a very strong team, good teammate with Felix Rosenqvist. So it makes a lot of sense for David to jump into this situation, and it's the best opportunity for him to really get a sense of what he is capable of still in an IndyCar, and give him the best opportunity to show up and show out for the 2025 season. And a brief note as well, on the press release, it still mentions Tom Blomqvist at the very end, which says, Meyershank Racing thanks Tom Blomqvist for his efforts through the first 6 IndyCar events, and the Brit remains part of the MSR family. Meyershank Racing heads to the week.
So he will be gone, sounds like. Right?
And blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I thought there was more about Tom Blomqvist. But Blomqvist will most likely end up in a Meyershank Racing Acura in IMSA next year. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all plays out. Last I had kind of dug around in the rumor mill, it sounds like Meyershank Racing heading back to Acura in IMSA. The question mark, of course, is whether it's 1 or 2 cars. And if it's 2 cars, you've got a potential driver market there for other drivers. And if it's not 2 cars, who gets the second Acura would be the next question. A name that has been thrown around a couple of times is Chip Ganassi Racing. So for those of you who are interested in sports cars, and of course should be, because it's the week before the 24 Hours of Le Mans, there's a little bit of insight. So yeah, what a freaking day. What a weird day. What an odd day. But here we are. Thank you guys so much for watching. More coverage throughout this weekend as things break. We'll see you in the next video.
Fuck me, that was something. So yeah, no more McLaren and yeah, whatever, the Argentina team. This is a Skull Cake 12. I would say I know which I will get. I kinda know. Every tropical fish that doesn't... we can take it up. There is... So shit, we should maybe pause the game. We go here, and then we click this one. So here we have the all, I would say, normal tropical fishes that you will always see when you swim around. The things I'm looking for, go away, is like every fish that doesn't look like the normal fishes. So every fish that have, some, from all these colors, and it's like 2,700 fishes, different colors, combos, and everything. So I am at 1,379 at the moment, and there's also fishes with the both, what do you say, the one color. So they are like you see in this. I don't know can see it. But there are different. There are two colors, but there's some fishes that are same color. Instead of we can actually, if we go, no, that one. Here we have a blockfish, orange and blue, and it can also just be orange. Yeah, I've clocked this. There's some colors that I still have, of the normal fish I still doesn't have. But I'm more focused on the cool tropical fishes. Yeah, it's let's see, we can take one out. So the thing that you see is brown will then be purple, and the thing that's purple is then brown. So it's like every different combo that a fish can have is what all this 2700 is about. All the different shapes, and we can take it up. Like it says a lot of information. Go away, go away. Let's see, where do we have all the information? Yeah, here we have it. So 22 variants. 22. Let's see. Okay, 2 shapes, 6 patterns, 15 base colors, and 15 pattern. And all this combined will then get this number. So, and then you have all these different fishes. Now, I would say it was more boring trying to get a good horse. Oh, here we have a new fish. There exists. Let's see if we can take it up. That fish we are looking at, looked like this fish. But like you see, it's not a light gray on the bottom. You see the gray stripes look like. So that's why. So that's one difference. So there is some fishes that look like it's one of the regulars, but they aren't. So you have to sometimes take up a normal fish, but they have the normal names. It's all the like special fish. Here we have the one that's just 100% 100% green. But all the special fish have the name and the colors. All other like normal fishes. Let's see if we can take one up. And also that I would say, I don't know if this is the fastest way to collect all the fishes, but around my base that I have built here is like a perfect place to just swim around the place to collect them slowly. I mean, I've seen like Hermitcraft when they had like a place where the tropical fish just was like flowing up like a, yeah, what can you call it? Sprinter. I don't know what's called. Something that is raining fishes. But yeah, just swinging around is for me more fun than I was about to say, like getting a horse. They can jump high, and we can look at it. So here we have the horse that can jump 5 blocks. And it took me like a year to just get a horse that can jump 5 high. And then after that, Minecraft themselves comes up and say, oh yeah, the bug that making it really hard to get a good jump horse is now fixed. Let's see, some free meat. See, we can get this fixed up so it's 5 block high. So here we are. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the future I would try to get more horses that can jump 5 and even higher. And then we have a collection of all the different rabbits. Oh no, shovel is needed. I collect them in yeah, we can go and look at that. In my chest room I collect all the, for now, and all the fishes that are uncopy, I just place them down in a nice aquarium. That died on 1 more chicken. See, place that here. So let's see, and then yeah, here we have it. So here we have all the fishes that are more than 9. So then we have dash a lime. So we have lime red, lime yellow, lime gray, you understand. All the I got, yeah. Here we have snooper blue with all the combos. Briny red and snooper lime. Betty orange, flopper purple, yeah. So there's all the fishes more than 9. Then we have all the rest that are not over 9, or 9 or less. So we have all the betties, all the blockfish, all the brownies, the clayfish, dasher, flopper, glitter, cob, snooper, spotty, stripey, and then sunshade. And the only reason why I started collecting this, that was, oh shit, forgot to place this back. And it was when Minecraft, let's see, was this the right one? Nope. when Minecraft come out with the axolotls. And I realized with my, well, you can maybe see now I have no problem to swim around my base to collect some fishes. But I realized the math for getting the blue axolotls, it was big enough for me to see as a really easy thing to do, to collect one. So let's see, it's a good place, maybe not. I need to have a... So let's see, where can we place it down? Man, the carpet of the room really a lot. Here we place it. This can be somewhat interesting. But here we have the blue axolotls. So while I was looking at getting this one, I realized that, man, all the fishes, I realized I started to see all these different fishes. So I started to collect them. So just recently, maybe a month ago, I started to collect them. But that's not the only thing I've been collecting. We have Strider, but there's nothing so important. You have some other interesting stuff. The white foxes and the orange foxes. And the plan is also getting all the different wolves. Or all the interesting animals I'm planning to collect. And then we have the cows. The mushroom cows. And then we have the most epic stuff, I would say. I mean, the pandas is somewhat cool, but the brown panda is the most amazing thing I have in my collection. And of course we have all the different Firebirds. Not more. Oh yeah, the other interesting thing that are part of the collecting all the fishes is the aquarium. Oh yeah, and this is also all the minor space the different rooms with the other animals will be in. But if we go to the aquarium, we have all the fishes that you can say is part of the collection, but they are the copies of the fishes I already collected. So this is where I have them placed for now with the turtles. And if we go to this place, we can see a lot of more, maybe too many fishes. So now you can see really how many different fishes there are. I mean, they should end up one day to 2,700. Okay, but let's go back to, let's see, what should we, we can place that one there. Let's go back to collect some fishes. back to the Fishemon. Gonna catch them all. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. No. Man, it can maybe went bad. Let's see. What more stuff was it we could watch? Yeah, the IndyCar stuff have been watched. Yeah, let's see if Williams Racing has something interesting to say about the Canadian Grand Prix. The team Torque were Alex Albon and Logan Sargent. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, that's bigger. I'm from Australia, mate.
That was
I'll do this whole question in Australian. Back at your earlier years in karting.
Oh, that is like one new fish. See, Magnanta. So the normal fish is cyan. No, cyan. The normal fish is pink. Eller have pink. And this have Magnanta. So it almost look like one of the normal fishes.
What's up, everyone? It is Team Torque. We're back in Montreal, episode 9.
The Big M.
The Big M. What do you think of the Big M?
I reckon it's
The
top
big
3 of the year.
Races are
Just like races, kind of hotel mixed with city and track as a combination. Top 3.
I feel like, I don't know. We have this bush in front of us.
Yeah, it feels weird.
We're a little-
You look like Bear Grylls right now. Like
But it look like they are in a bathroom. Or not a bathroom, but a bathhouse.
within, you got the tree behind you.
We're a little far away.
It
I
is.
don't-
I agree.
I'm not sure about this.
Do you want us to be
Missing the
closer?
mini helmet. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, Montreal. It's a
What a place, eh?
what a place. I think first time here last year for me was really cool.
Yeah.
I think we're in for another typical unpredictable weather weekend.
It's weird. It's like every time we arrive, the weather's amazing. Like what's the Wednesday, Thursday, and then the weekend starts and it's like rain.
It's unreal.
I did speak about that to the locals and to like the people in the airport. And they were like, on the Wednesday or yesterday when I landed, it was so hot,
Yeah.
and sunny, and I was like, oh, this is new.
It was Tuesday yesterday, but anyways.
Tuesday, sorry. I was like, this is new, and they were like, no, it's always good weather. And I was like, what? No, it's not.
Just doesn't show out for F1.
Yeah, maybe. But it is a cool place. Where does this rank in your list?
I was saying the other day, I was actually talking
Oh
to
yeah,
the driver
one more
on the way
chicken
from the
dog.
airport to the hotel,
Yeah.
and I was
Let's
sort of
go
ranking
look.
like top 5 in terms of like atmosphere, weekends, whatever.
Does the track get included in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything.
Yeah.
And fans as well, like atmosphere. And I always think like Montreal, Melbourne,
Yeah.
Austin, Silverstone,
Yeah.
and I had one more. What was the other one?
Miami, baby.
No. But yeah, this is definitely one of the top 5. for
Monaco.
me. Yes, it was Monaco.
Yeah.
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 So for
yeah,
me,
no, I agree.
For
I
me,
agree.
that's sort of the top 5
Yeah,
in terms
no,
of like
same.
weekends, atmospheres, etc.
It is good. It's
Did you
nice.
go to Joe Beef?
Tonight?
You're going tonight?
Tonight. I did ask Logan. He was busy apparently. I don't know what he's up to.
No.
Well, I was busy last night,
Do
and
it
then
late.
tonight teams got me busy.
That's true.
You're
They
on
got you
holiday. are you?
busy. Sorry.
You're on holiday, and I'm
I had to replace you with Yuki. So
with what?
to
to Joe Beef.
To Joe Beef.
Sorry, mate.
So, but you've been there before.
No, I still haven't been.
It's good. Maybe I'm hyping it up a bit too much, but it's good. I mean, I've got a T-shirt. I walk
One
around
more
with
for
a
the
t-shirt.
collection.
Just reflecting.
Yeah.
Next. reflecting on Monaco.
Yep.
2
I don't know,
points.
Obviously, it was a good weekend for you. Good weekend for the team.
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad.
What'd you do after?
I have to say, like, Monaco week, it's made me think about getting a motorhome because I love the fact so much that you can be in your own place and go to the race and
I don't
then
think
go
it'll
back.
be the same though.
I think it won't feel quite the same, but it will just be so nice to have a place that you can make your own and like
True.
make it not quite where you live, but you just have the little things, you know,
Yeah,
the
but-
foods you like and the, I don't know,
Yeah, but you know how hard, or not hard it would be, but I guess I'd be worried about it getting loud. Like if you're near the track, there's
Yes.
concerts going on,
true.
there's
But,
fans.
but I don't
there's-
think there are many
One more
tracks where
fish
our
for the collection.
motorhomes are parked that close to the track, like really on
And
the
we
track.
get this one also.
They're normally pretty well hidden.
True.
Don't come and find
And we need more buckets.
us, please. Disclaimer. But I don't know. I thought about it because I liked that. I felt so relaxed in Monaco, just
the
being able
buckets
to do my own
there.
thing, and also because you have your own place, you kind of feel like you have your own time schedule. Like you just wake up. Do I have breakfast? Do I
Yeah,
make
it's nice.
breakfast by myself? You know, like I like that. So you did that in Miami, right?
Miami.
Isn't it nice? Like you just feel so much more
I thought
Yeah,
going
we
into
are
that
more-
weekend it was going to be weird, but it
Yeah.
actually turned out to be like
the best.
the best.
Like you go home and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I thought it was going to be like strange, but it actually works out pretty well.
the only thing I would say is Lily hates being in motorhomes. Like it's just too small. So I think that's the
One
only
more fish
thing that
for the
would stop me from-
collection.
It's not like your apartment's huge.
Exactly.
I feel like I've
That's
picked
true.
up
My
many
mo-
blockfish
My
today.
apartment is literally. I think if I got a motorhome, my motorhome would be bigger than my apartment. If I
It'd be close.
if I got like slide outs, I think it
No,
would be bigger
that's a normal.
than my Monaco apartment. But
Normal fish.
I think favorite parts about Montreal is the curbs. I mean, it's resurfaced this year,
it is. That's going to be interesting. The food's great. that's
so we've gone away
Num-
from the driving,
Yeah.
back to food.
yeah.
Joe beef.
Number one thing about Montreal, I would say, is the food.
So actually, on food,
Number two.
we have a fan question about food.
Oh, wow,
Fan
we're skipping around.
question.
Yeah, go on.
I'm gonna throw it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw it at you.
Mhm.
In Canada,
Yeah.
don't kill me if I'm saying this completely wrong.
Kill
Is
him. Kill him.
poutine a yes or no?
What? Putin from Russia?
Do you know what it is?
Mhm. Yes, and it is a yes.
It's a yes.
Yes. Yes to Putin. The sad mode.
I haven't tried it.
The Russia mode.
Give me like a.
Out of 10, I would give you. I give a poutine around an 7.5.
Okay.
The
so
problem is we're athletes, so
what is
you
like?
are self-destructing your body.
What's it
eating a
taste like?
poutine. Did you ever in the UK they love this thing called gravy and chips,
Oh yeah.
and it's the most UK dish in the world. Have you had it before?
Yeah.
Imagine that with cheese on top and meat, and that's poutine. I mean, it's
Oh,
very
yeah?
similar to it's very similar to fish gravy and chips. So crossing boundaries, crossing, connecting cultures. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Interesting.
I would say go for a beaver tail. That's like basically a churros, but flattened like a pizza.
Let's see, what is this? Put. Let's see, we go here, and then we go here. Okay, I think I got it. Fuck is this? Huh. Okay, sure. Now we know that.
I think I've disrespected Montreal twice. But that's pretty much, and it's good. And then
Also, that looked nice. So yeah, I think I will rate it probably 10 out of 10.
I don't know. I just feel like their produce is good. I feel like they got good quality meats and cheeses and all that kind of stuff.
All right, let's get into a couple fan questions.
Yeah, more question.
Focus.
I'm dialed in.
You gotta
dialed
give
in.
their names unless their names aren't on there.
Thank you for that question, Reese.
There we go. Good one,
Well,
Reese. Well done, Reese.
Out of the USA.
USA.
What is your favorite helmet design?
Ever.
And that's from Isabel.
It must be the Panda.
Is that my own or just outright?
I don't know. Let's do our own.
Our own, I would say.
I know my favorite one of yours.
Really? My favorite is my Silverstone 2022 helmet. I did this lilac purple. The purple itself looks unbelievable. Like purple looks
There must
great
be a
on
new
helmet.
fish.
It was like a light purple. Had like just purple and white for most of it, so it was really clean. And then it had my pets like on a ring on the top.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay, so this will if I knew the pets, this will be number 1. But from memory, the Panda.
Like Disney kind of style. That was my favorite. What would you say is your favorite of mine?
Of yours, the Panda one.
Panda. What about you?
My favorite is my Miami helmet that I had last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that looked great. I saw it the other day because I think like before Miami last year they were posting about Miami from last year during
Yeah.
Miami this year.
I think that was one of the coolest
Yeah.
ones of mine that have turned out.
As drivers going all around the world, I assume a few have been missed. Flights have been missed. What would you say is the worst time you've missed a flight
Trident.
from Gracie?
Can we
Well,
get one more?
From my
Man,
side,
it's been so long time I got one.
I'm like overly punctual, so I've never missed a flight.
Good question then. How early, what's your kind of happy place? When there's a flight, what time do you want to be in the airport?
If it's domestic,
Uh-huh.
1 hour 10.
That's pretty tight. I
If
mean, that's not
it's-
so early.
If it's international,
Nope, still not
no
Trident.
more than 2 hours. Like right at
Did I
2.
fix the bug?
Not too bad. You're just desperate to get back to the US. Just you're there 4 hours before the flight takes off. Just get me back home.
Before the flight back to Miami, I'm there just asleep there.
I've only missed I missed I missed 2 flights, and the second time I missed it was yesterday.
You missed a flight yesterday?
Yeah, I was supposed to be on not your flight. I was supposed to be on these guys' flight, but not my fault. I had an issue with my visa. They put in the wrong passport number.
Oh really? I've had that happen to me twice this year.
So you missed your flight.
No, I had an issue when I got
One more.
there.
When you got there, they
Yeah.
let you on the plane.
They let me in the plane, then I had to go to the penalty box for a little bit.
Wow. Who's the first American driver in F1?
It's a big Mario.
Really? First? Now we're getting juicy.
Wasn't there a Phil Hill?
Phil Hill. Phil Hill sounds like a fake name, but so does Logan Hunter Sargent.
Phil Hill.
Phil
Yeah,
Hill.
baby. See, I know that U.S. culture.
Phil Hill. Who is he? Like, what did he? Is he successful? What year? F1 world champion Phil Hill.
What year?
He won the world championship. He won the world championship.
Phil Hill, baby. Come on.
What year?
Put some respect on.
Hey, this should we look up? Wait, what? Go away. And then we winners Formula 1. Let's see. They have Phil Hill, American. 1961. Where do we have Mauro Andretti? There we have it. So 1961, then 1978. Interesting.
On it. 61.
He's not related to Graham Hill, is he?
No way.
I apologize, Phil Hill. I apologize to your family as well if they're listening. I have no disrespect to you. I just have never heard of you. Phil Hill.
How have you not heard of Phil Hill?
I'll do this whole question in Australian for you. Looking back at your earlier years in karting and junior formulas,
One more collection.
were there any specific drivers or mentors like Mark Webber who had a profound impact on your career? How did that guidance or example influence your approach to racing, mate?
I didn't even get the question. Any mentors?
Tom from Australia. Not in Australian accent. Looking back at your earlier years in karting and junior formulas, were there any specific drivers or mentors who had a profound impact on your career? How did their guidance or example influence your approach to racing?
Ronnie Peterson, right?
Logan Hunter Sargent, mate. I do what I want.
I don't know. Why don't you take this one first?
I think as a driver to look up to in terms of being a complete package, I looked up to Michael Schumacher quite a lot because I felt like he had this. He was clearly very talented, but he clearly, in terms of how he worked with the team and he learned Italian and he really kind of got involved in the projects. I was really inspired by just how he elevated just being a racing driver.
Ooh, could this be something he trying to do with Williams? Being the one that helps the team to build up and be the future podium
He was big on his fitness and all this kind of thing.
winners.
He was very detail orientated, so kind of made me feel like even if, he had the talent, but he also worked for it, which was inspiring. And then in terms of mentors or whatnot, I never really had a driving coach. My dad was kind of my driving coach, so you could say my dad. But
I feel like dad's always a good mentor.
yeah, exactly. I think the way I started off was I basically after school I would go into this. There was like a barn near my house, and it would be about the size of this room here, which you guys can't see, but it would be the size of about a swimming pool. And
But I need to fix
I would
this
do
new
like
bug. Let's shoot
you would lay
it.
bricks down, and I would literally just do figure of eights and just do like this. Like, it was like slalom racing. I would do like 5 laps. It would time me for 5 laps, and I would just do that over and over again. And then that was when I was 7. So then by the time I was 8, I was enough to go to like a karting track.
Still not try
was
that.
like- I was okay. Like I started off already okay, but that was it. I mean, I didn't have much coaching. I find it a really weird sport, motor racing. It's not like golf or football, where they're constantly being coached all the time. I feel like racing's very unique. It's
And you work
weird.
with your teams a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird to me how there's not much coaching involved. And I
Yeah.
think some F1 teams
One
have like a
new
driver
fish for the collection.
designated person in terms of driving lines and whatnot, but it's such a feel thing. I think
Yeah.
that's the main reason why it's not a thing, and confidence focused and all this kind of thing. But it's weird.
No,
isn't
one
it?
more.
yeah. No, I agree.
Who did you have anyone?
No, I mean,
Rob Wilson.
what a ledge. Honestly, shout out Rob.
Shout out Rob.
No, I think my dad.
I don't know if
for
the,
the most part.
yeah. I don't know if this is an interesting story that you could even put in. When I first joined Williams, one of the things they wanted to do with me to see if I was good enough to be a Williams driver, so this was like post Red Bull world, they got me to sit with Rob Wilson in the car. That was the first time I ever met Rob. And I had Dave Robson in the back seat. And I felt like it was like a bit of a test to see if Rob considered me good enough to be a Williams F1 driver.
In a Ford Puma.
In a Ford Focus ST. So
It is fun.
I might have to thank Rob for my journey into Formula One with Williams. Who knows? I don't think you can put that in. But maybe you can. Last one then, to close this off. This is a bit... I'm jumping back too much. Oh, this is okay. On the Drivers' Parade, what do you guys talk about from Lorna, Great Britain?
It changes every single weekend.
It does. I think we all have established our friends groups a bit as well, so we all kind of hang around the same people. Some drivers like to do their own thing, but for the most part,
I have seen like sometimes people just hang out in the back with headphones on.
yeah. Maybe I'll do that next time. What we haven't thought about is what stops us from having headphones in, like big ones, like the ones we're wearing now, and just lighting them up with loads of sponsors, our own personal sponsors, just like on the top and on the sides, and then when they're filming us on the truck, we're just like you're always like trying to get out, just like itching or like just being a total sellout. Okay, let's wrap up, everyone.
Oh, like in the car. Every in the car driver sell out all the sponsors every time they do something. So fucking annoying.
What a beautiful and relaxed podcast, eh?
Yeah,
Yep,
the sun is
one more
shining,
fish for the
Liverpool behind
collection.
us.
There is
I mean, we have nature all around us.
I barely could see Logan because he's behind a bush.
Oh, there's a big spider behind you.
Shut up.
Swear to God. On the wall back there.
Oh, that's bigger.
It's like swinging.
Someone should film the spider.
It's over there, hanging out.
That's definitely poisonous. You're gonna turn into Spider-Man if you get eaten by that thing. Logan, how are you with capturing spiders? Why don't we close it off with a unique segment of Catch the Spider?
I think the Aussie should do it.
Yeah, that's true. Don't kill it as well. That's bad karma. Put it outside nicely.
All right.
Oh,
As he's doing that.
oh,
there's one.
it's jumpy, huh?
What the fuck is this?
Do not give it to Alex. I was ready to run.
Yeah, that's something. Interesting ending with the spider. Let's see, what more do we have to watch? Let's see, have Peter Windsor done anything? Yes, he have, 48 minutes ago. I hope he did the practice 1 and 2 together, because holy shit, nothing happened. Let's see. Yeah, I wanna see. Peter Windsor, what did you see? One more fish for the collection. Is this 100% cyan? Look like that. Yep, 100% cyan. And also blockfish. So many blockfishes. It's time for... Oh my god, it was a long time ago I watched Peter Windsor. Yeah, you have glasses.
Well, for those of us who've been around long enough to remember it, that was a little bit more like the old Montreal Canadian Grand Prix when the race used to be held at the end of the year. Always wet, or usually wet, but also very cold. Not cold on this occasion, but a bit of a washout on this Friday for the Canadian Grand Prix. First session was on and off, showers, cars dodging in and out of the pit lane. Practice started 20 minutes late.
Nothing happened.
Because the pit lane was closed while they
Jack Doohan didn't get any practice.
cleaned up some of the standing water, and not too many conclusions therefore could be drawn. Everybody hoping, of course, there would be a dry slot in FP2. There was right at the beginning a bit of a queue in the pit lane getting out, and then the track dried out almost to the point where it was a dry line all the way around the lap. Not in every sector, but certainly sector 1 looked pretty good, but under the trees still a little bit damp offline. So that needs to be borne in mind in any results that we look at and analyse. And then the rain came. A few incidents. Guan Yu Zhou went off at the beginning of FP1 basically on his first lap, aquaplaned into the guardrail. On that quick section after the first chicane, just lost the back end, hit the guardrail on the left, bit of damage to the suspension, got out for the second session. Also drama for Charles Leclerc, who was out on intermediates at the beginning of...
Yes, that's happened. For some reason... they didn't like that.
FP2, and again you'd think, well, yeah, and it was a little bit dodgy, the weather, everybody wondering how wet it was going to be, send him out on intermediates. But of course the session at that point, I say of course, but the reality is the session at that point hadn't officially been declared by the FIA to be a wet session. And when it is declared a wet session, you can go out on intermediates. And the offshoot of that is that you can then take a set of tyres into FP3. But because that declaration had not been made at that point, and Charles was out on the intermediates, as I speak, he's being, that's being...
I mean, that's so fucking stupid. It's still what them... Oh my god, that is stupid.
investigated. And he may get a penalty for
It
that.
started to rain and feel like, no, it's not a wet session. Fucking stupid.
Not a great thing, and we've been saying what a great job his new race engineer's been doing. He won't be too happy with that one, and it was a bit funny actually.
If he get a punish because of that, that's fucking retarded when they let Kevin Magnussen still drive in from
When the order was given for Charles to box immediately, he was out on his intermediates, and he didn't know what the problem was, and they didn't want to say on air what the problem was. Bit embarrassing, of course. And Charles kept saying, as he came into the pit lane, he said, well, you know, if there's something wrong with the car, tell me to slow down. No, just box, Charles, just box. And that was the end of it. But it is a bit of an issue.
That was something funny. But no, it's not the time for the intermeters. Should I box? Yeah, box. We need to box.
That one,
What?
and it'll
Why?
be interesting to see what
Box.
sort of penalty he
Just
gets. Probably
box.
be a rap on the knuckles, but we'll see. The other teams may not accept a rap on the knuckles, I think, but we'll have a look and see what happens there. And the other thing was that it wasn't a great
Yeah, fucking Max Verstappen's car got something problem with the battery or something.
day for Max Verstappen, but bearing in mind it was basically wet all afternoon, except for that one dry period at the beginning of FP2.
So he actually didn't miss anything. Sometimes it's lucky. Yeah,
if you're going to have problems with the car, have it on a day like that when it doesn't really matter at all. There was no way they were ever going to get out and do any sort of long runs, get any homework done, or indeed really do any comparisons in terms of top speeds through the traps or anything like that. Max, whenever he was out, and didn't do that many laps anyway, whenever he's out, he's always in the top 3 or 4, but he never really got out there and got into a groove of a number of flying laps, getting the tyres right up to temperature. And he came in early on his run when the track was relatively dry in FP2, saying there was an odd smell from the car, a burning smell, and get the fans on the car straight away. And sure enough, the car was then up on stands in the garage where they were taking various bits and bobs. Looks like the right rear brake drum again was one of the central points of interest. Bear in mind, of course, he had that huge brake failure during the Australian Grand Prix. Not saying it was the same thing. At the moment, Red Bull doing a very good job of just having everybody who wasn't working standing in front of the garage to make sure nobody could see what was going on, or indeed see the famous flaw. So, yeah, a bit of a question mark there. But as I say, if you're going to have a bad day, have it on a day like this on the Friday in Canada when it didn't really matter. Anyway, I say that. Of course, there were some drivers out there who put in a lot of laps, who would have enjoyed the conditions. One of those, sadly, was not Jack Doohan, who has been given a run in the Esteban Ogone Alpine in FP1. They didn't send him out at all until right at the end, and then he just came in, didn't do a flying lap. Bit of a shame, really, when you've got a young gun like that, particularly with Jack's car control. It would have been kind of nice to have seen him out in the wet, throwing the car around a bit. Isn't that what the young drivers are supposed to be there for? Anyway, oh no, dangerous. Better not do that. Better keep the car in one piece, whatever. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the results, some of the data from the day. FP1, the track was damp, but they got up to reasonably representative trap speeds. The trap on this occasion is, I'm pleased to say, in a decent place, i.e. at the end of the long straight before the final chicane, exactly where the speed trap should be. So it is representative of what the cars are going to be doing through the air. And this was the only time, I think, when they were running full dry settings. Not all of them running dry settings, but some of them would have been. They're out on soft tyres. And so you can read a little bit into that. I think the only thing you can say are the trends are that the Visa Cash App, I was about to say AlphaTauri. What am I thinking?
Oh, Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team.
The Visa Cash App specials look very quick in a straight line, and that was reflected in FP2 as well. Yuki was quickest in FP1 through the trap. The Ferraris,
Not
pretty
Ricciardo.
good. Charles Leclerc, as he got out on the circuit, was just pushing hard, looked aggressive and running a bit wide at hairpins, locking up under chicane, braking on his opening laps, things like that. But looked like a guy just won the Monaco Grand Prix and realised that he's got a real chance in the championship, and just out there confident as anything. Max 324, yeah, can't read much into that.
There's something I can believe in. He passing Max Verstappen in points, but he will not win it.
Wouldn't know how much front flat they're running, what sort of downforce they're running in terms of setting the car up for the wet. But again, Daniel Ricciardo underlining the speed of that Visa Cash App car this weekend with the Honda Power. Mercedes, not too bad. Lewis 322, George 319, and they were quick again in FP2 through the trap. We'll have a look at that in a second. Sergio Perez 321. Again, Red Bull obviously there or thereabouts. George 319. Williams not as quick as they would normally be, but not bad. 318 for Logan Sargent. But the Alpine's very slow in a straight line, as were the McLarens in that opening session. And now you've probably seen these, but these were the results of that run in FP2 when the track was virtually dry, certainly in sector 1, a little bit damp offline, sectors 2 and 3, but enough to be able to put in some quick laps on the soft tyre. Although note, I've said on the left, Ferrari and McLaren ran the mediums. Interesting that they did that, thinking ahead. Everybody else out on the soft, and Max, as I say, didn't really get a lap in anyway, but when he did that lap, that 19.3, it was about P4, and then it was quite early on, and then they put the car up on the stands, as I say. So there you can see the times. A lot of fun watching Fernando Alonso in the wet out there doing his thing. Really good. The two Aston Martins good in terms of balance and chuckability, drivability, and not slow in a straight line either. So looking like a good car. If it is going to be wet, Aston Martin look as if they'll be really quick, as do the two Mercedes. George 16.2, Lewis 16.9. A lot of traffic out there, and of course not many opportunities to get a lap in before the rain came. That should be borne in mind as well. Charles Leclerc 16.5, he definitely had a lot of traffic as well. Daniel Ricciardo looking good. Old Daniel Ricciardo, who loves Canada, goes really well. He was complaining about the traffic. Everybody complaining about the traffic, blaming the Ferraris. Most teams blaming the Ferraris. Interesting. Yuki Tsunoda, again, there or thereabouts, 16.9. Alex Albon, not bad at all. Sergio Perez, yeah, round and round. Just, he's got his contract now through to... Quite sure if it's through to the end of 2025. It says through to 2026. Not quite sure what that means. Does that mean he gets involved in the 26 car, but he doesn't actually get to race it? Anyway, he's re-signed. As I said in various live streams, it's no surprise, really. I mean, he is a perfect counterpoint to Max, as we've always been saying. And he does bring a lot of money to the team, a lot of money, through merchandising, but also he's got about 6 sponsors that are all generated out of Mexico as well. So he's not a paid driver. For sure he gets paid a retainer, don't get it wrong. But he does bring a lot of money to the team, so you make of that what you will. So anyway, he's staying, and he looked like sort of...
he's not a paid driver. He's a driver that pays.
Well, I'm sorted now. It won't take any risks today. Thank you very much. That was Sergio Perez. Esteban Ogone got in the car did a lot of laps. He did the most laps actually on the intermediates when it was wet towards the end, and not too bad in the dry either. Logan Sargent looking half reasonable. And the two McLarens, as I say, on medium tyres, not doing very much on the medium, but Oscar Piastri particularly, well, both of them look really good in the wet. I think it's worth saying at this point that if it was a dry weekend, dry Friday right through to Sunday, I've said already that I think it'll take Red Bull back to basically where we've seen them in the past. Very quick in a straight line by 3 or 4 kilometers, and using up that aero efficiency with a bit more downforce on the corners where they can get the turn in and the traction they need, and they'll be really good around Canada. But if it's wet, then not saying all bets are off, the Red Bull will still be a good car, but it'll certainly bring Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin much nearer to Red Bull. So it'll be a very, very
not Mercedes
close qualifying session if it is wet, in my opinion, and probably the most drivable cars will be the McLaren and possibly the Aston Martin. And then we had the speed trap in FP2 when there were proper runs for the first time really, and you can see there the speeds are quicker through the trap.
First podium for Aston Martin, can that happen? That will be so funny if that happens before Mercedes even get a podium.
Max was last, didn't get into the 300s, but again, as I say, he had that problem. So again, we shouldn't read too much into this because we can't really tell there where Red Bull are, for example. But this does give some indication again of downforce they're running and speed through the air. Again, as I say, the Visa Cash App's really good through the air. Mercedes looking good. Look at Lewis Hamilton 330, right up there with Kevin Magnussen. I mean, that's an indication that Mercedes are pretty good now in terms of top speed versus grip and balance. And Lewis did quite a lot of laps on the intermediates at the end when it did start to rain. Looked pretty comfortable in the car. Looked just like Lewis Hamilton used to look in the wet. Looked really good, actually, I thought. Yuki Tsunoda up there as well. Lance Stroll. Doing quite a lot for the Canadian fans, looking pretty good. Obviously quick when the track was dry, and then 2 Astons good in a straight line, as I say, 328, 327. George Russell there, Guanyu Zhou pretty quick in the Sauber. But Charles Leclerc 324, Carlos Sainz 319. Again, that kind of reflects not doing great laps in the dry. They had a lot of traffic. But I think we can say at this stage, McLaren are not as quick as, say, Mercedes or Aston Martin through the air in Canada. It may well change for tomorrow. As I say, most of the data that we got from today was pretty meaningless in the sense that it was just what was the track like when that lap was being recorded, what was the condition of the tyres, what was the traffic, there was maybe a couple of tows involved, maybe not, and there might be graining as well which affected the tyres. So can't read too much into it in terms of trends, can't read too much into it in terms of what we're going to see on Sunday. Of course, what we could see on Sunday is a race defined by the grid that will be in qualifying tomorrow. And if it's wet, obviously the pole suddenly takes on massive significance in terms of visibility and being able to get away, because the forecast is for rain through Saturday and Sunday. So it's a little bit like Monaco qualifying. The pole is going to be incredibly important, particularly going into that first section as well, because it's always very accident prone, that turn one, and then braking hard into the right hand of the change of direction. So you want to be at the front if you are a Charles Leclerc, a Max Verstappen, or one of the McLaren drivers, Carlos Sainz. So you want to be there, and so therefore qualifying is going to be really, really, if it is wet, it's going to be very spectacular tomorrow. Getting through into Q2 is going to be no mean feat, because of the traffic as well and the visibility if they're out there, if it is wet. If it's dry, as I say, all bets are off, and we'll need to see what the setups are going to be like, and we'll be reporting obviously on that tomorrow in terms of top speeds and what everyone can do. But in the meantime, that was Friday. Not a lot to say, but some spectacular driving out there, curb hopping, sliding around. Not sort of wonderful power slides that you used to see in the wet, or we still hope we do see in the wet, but nonetheless some impressive driving, particularly with poor visibility. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. And go to Canada. It's always a time for me when I always think of Gilles Villeneuve. The circuit's named after him, which is a great thing. And it's a time to remember Gilles. He would have loved the conditions today. I'm not sure he would have loved the cars today. I think he would have much rather been in a T3 or a T4 Ferrari with those sorts of conditions.
True.
But nonetheless, that's what it
Fucking new
was.
cars.
See you tomorrow.
The worst thing that ever happened. And who is this? One more fish for the collection. Nothing about this person. Sorry, Peter Windsor, I cannot remember. Like this will go on for some time. Second more. Man, epic music for collected fishes. Gonna catch them all. One day we will get every fish that exists in Minecraft. And then the ad ruined everything. Fuck me. Okay, that was practice 1 and 2, and let's see what do we have left. Yeah, I wanna see what Kym Illman thinks about the Color Science Jones Williams in 2025? Question mark.
For the Canadian Grand Prix.
Oh shit. So low.
It's media day for the Canadian Grand Prix, and I can tell you right now that Carlos Sainz is almost certainly going to end up here at Williams driving in 2020.
Wait, really? What kind of facts do you know, Kym Illman? Do you know maybe where... oh, it's called? And a new go.
25. Huge buzz in the paddock today. Carlos Sainz heading to Williams. Hasn't been officially announced yet. I mentioned this in the video last week, that Williams and Carlos were a long way down the track. And right now, I believe it's a 99% chance. Is it the best team for him to go to? Probably not. But are they on the rise? How will he and Alex Albon go? Because he's going to end up taking Logan Sargent's seat, and that means we will be losing.
Oh God. Peter Windsor will get... He have been talking a lot that the biggest problem for Williams is that they don't have two good drivers. They can just give like feedback to make the car better. And now the time to shine have happened. And maybe in the new also joins, and then it will be perfect. You know, the first season getting points every race. Oh, one more fish for the collection. And then maybe next season, the first podium. And maybe season after that, more podiums. And then slowly, oh, the second podium. And then we have a win.
Using a US driver here at Formula One, which is a shame. It would have been lovely to have a US driver drumming up even more support in the US market. When will this announcement be made? I can't tell you that, but everyone I've spoken to here now says that almost all the doors have shut, and this is the best option for Carlos. Still on the subject of Carlos, he was doing a number of media interviews out here in the paddock under grey skies, and by the time you watch this, I think you will have found, if the predictions are correct, that we've had a heck of a lot of rain, which pretty much put pay to anything happening in the late afternoon here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Now, chances are some of you would have seen Oscar Piastri's photo of me. This was my photo of him, in fact, a number of photos. And he grabbed this camera from one of his social media guys. I gave him a very brief lesson and said, here, take a photo. And he's turned it on me, which was funny. So I shoot him, he shoots me. And then a little later appears on Twitter. Now, to be fair, it's very hard to know how to move that focus dot on a camera if you've had 3 seconds introduction to it. So don't judge him on that photo. I think with a bit of training and a bit of practice, he will come good. Now, let's go back to last night in the city. Bonjour. This is the Ritz-Carlton, and there are, I believe, upwards of 10 of the F1 drivers staying in this hotel. And there's a group of people behind me here who are very excited about the prospect of seeing one or more of them. And then there's an even bigger group up the other end who are hopeful of seeing the drivers. And who are they here for?
Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo,
Charles Leclerc.
Yuki.
Charles, après Monaco, ça va être le championnat. Forza Ferrari.
True. Forza Ferrari.
From Maranello. No. Wait. No. Look here. Charles and Carlos. This come from Maranello.
It's beautiful.
Forza Ferrari.
Hi Charles, I love you.
Hola,
we love
chicos.
you, Carlos.
Desde México, te amamos.
It's my birthday today, so if I see you, it will be my gift.
And while there are plenty of people on that side of the road, on the other side of the road there's probably 50 as well.
Everybody's waiting for Charles, so we hope to find Charles.
Charles Leclerc. Not Carlos
Well,
Sainz.
they've been waiting some time for this. Charles Leclerc has just arrived in this gorgeous yellow Ferrari. Who's the happiest? I get a lot of comments on my post. How do fans know where the drivers are staying?
True.
Well, I think once one person cottons on and posts it on social media, it just runs like wildfire, and suddenly there are 50...
Okay, that's not that weird, huh? Someone leaves it and then everyone...
100, 200 people waiting out front of those hotels. That one in particular being the most popular in this city at the moment. One thing's for sure though, the drivers will all be staying at 5-star hotels because of the security and the comfort level. And even though they don't spend a great deal of time in their room, they're still looking for that upmarket experience because they are such in demand at the moment. So what would you be paying per night to stay at the Ritz-Carlton? Well, next weekend off-peak, it's about 1,200 euros a night, which is maybe 1,350 US a night. But this week it has to be at least double that. So 2,700 US a night to stay at this glorious hotel, and you're mixing with the very best of the F1 drivers.
Oh, I was waiting for Carlos, but I got a photograph.
What, did you go today?
Oh, yesterday. Actually, yesterday.
Okay. Did you see my picture of him today at the track?
Yes, I saw it from the bike.
I'm waiting for Charles and his girlfriend, Alexandra.
But Charles already...
I think he'll go back out.
What do I have to say?
Yeah.
I love this atmosphere out the front of the hotel because we don't get this in very many cities, so it's nice.
We've moved from One Direction to Formula One. And we think they're gonna fall in love with us.
You know it's F1 weekend, you just see all the stores and like everyone, the city just comes to life.
You know it's summer in Montreal when race week.
Yeah, I've had like a couple of tourists ask me like randomly on the street, they were like, why is Montreal so loud? And I was like so excited to explain to them. I was like, it's because it's F1 weekend and you're so lucky to be here.
Yeah, I wonder if this happened when the IndyCar have their... I don't know if they are in... I mean, there are 1 or 2 races in Canada. Wonder if that have the same feeling.
On this weekend, like
It's
everybody.
my first F1 weekend, and I stayed longer in Montreal because of F1 weekend. I was supposed to leave in May. So everyone, I had high hopes, and I hope it's going to be nice. I'm working there, by the way. I'm working there on the door of the grandstands. Yeah.
So about 300 metres around the corner is the Four Seasons, and there would be, I'm guessing, 25, 30 people here waiting for drivers. Which drivers?
Checo, well, we think he's there. We haven't seen him. If you are friends with him, please tell him to come sign our caps.
That would be great.
We have been waiting for a while.
Had to laugh at Jack Doohan this morning. He drove in and mentioned the fact that despite he is driving F1 at FP1 tomorrow, he still has to drive in the media car park, which is about a 500-metre walk. Another Jack here today, Jack without a C, is Jack Crawford, American driver who's doing FP1 tomorrow here for Aston Martin. Now I find this of great interest. This is Melissa Jimenez interviewing Fernando Alonso. Now this pair go out together, but when it comes to F1 they're immensely professional. And in fact I spoke to Melissa and she mentioned that she used to interview her father when he raced, and it was the same thing where they drew a line between professional and personal life. I did happen to catch these two talking today and photograph them. Then I came back about 10 minutes later and they were still there and still talking after another 10 minutes. They were mainly reminiscing about times in Formula 2. And I still think Ollie Behrman is going to get that gig at Haas. Pierre Gasly was funny this morning. I see him coming towards me and he's dressed a little bit like a gangster rapper, I thought. So I mentioned that to him and he gave me this funny series of hand signals. And then I said, oh, Nav's in. Nav's a local rapper here. He says, oh no, I'm doing something with him shortly. And I just went out there and saw Nav, who I've never heard his music, all dressed up in a race suit. Let's talk fashion. Today, Lewis Hamilton looking spectacular. Made the long walk in over the bridge in this brown outfit. Yuki Tsunoda dressed in Hugo, while Fernando Alonso was wearing the other label of Hugo Boss, and that being Boss. Now, I did take particular note of Daniel Ricciardo's outfit, and I did mention to him, what's the go with the padding on the shoulders and the elbow? It's actually from Alpine Stars Reserve. And when he pulled up, and you'll see the car he pulled up in my What the Drivers Drove video next week, I did note, because I was standing on the same side as the driver and I was focusing on his mirror, he actually got changed into that sweater inside the car. And then when he was ready, he then appeared for the media. And to be honest, a lot of drivers do that. They get ready in the car and then they get out. Lando Norris wearing kith pants, and I couldn't work out the shirt, but to be honest, it's quite plain. It could be anybody. But he looked pretty smart in it, and lots of comments on the post about his neck size. And I guess driving at the speeds that they drive, that's going to be a byproduct of the sport. Oh, and one last look, Zhou Guan Yu.
They have that also.
This outfit, I originally thought it was Dior, but he corrected me. It is Lululemon. I thought he looked pretty swish. Now, for some things you might not know about this track, it's normally an open street. Well, half of it's for cars, half of it's for bicycles, and almost all of that concrete barrier and wire fencing is taken down, except for the section between turn 2 and turn 3. That stays up. The grandstands are all up. They are temporary, and the work starts on those in March. But if it stops snowing earlier, they can start work earlier on them. The whole track was relaid last year, and interestingly, this bridge was deemed to be not high enough last year. So did they raise the height of the bridge? No. They lowered the track by some 40 centimetres, and that'll save a whole lot of trucks damaging the bottom of the bridge. Here's something I learnt yesterday. If a driver has an accident in this section of the track, they'll have to jump to the outside, then they walk up to this little service road where they are met by a person on a motorcycle, they're ferried to this point, and then they have to walk through this dense bush. And at the other end, they're picked up by somebody else with a scooter and ferried to the paddock. Montreal always comes to the party when it comes to F1. There's pop-up stores here selling a whole host of merchandise, but not Mercedes because they've got their own separate pop-up on the other side of the block. And you're paying $140 Canadian for that, or $100 for that. That signals the end of this video. If you've enjoyed it, I'm going to ask you to like it. And if you're not subscribed, come on guys, get with the program. Please hit that subscribe button for a whole lot of extra content and stuff. Have a look here. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate.
Now, interestingly,
go away. Then we have the last thing before we end it. What do we have it? There we have it, and it's the Aidan Millward reverse DRS for dirty air on pin of the FIA announcement 2026 FIA regulation. But before that, we look 21 plus 19 is 40. Nice. Let's see how many fishes are copies or the same. No. How many fishes? I hope for at least 19 fishes are just copies. I hope I will be over 1,400 for the collection. Oh shit. Go back.
So about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember because time is just flying at the minute, I did a piece on Formula One's commercial rights holders wanting to go back to the fabled V8 engines in 2030, with all the hybrid stuff binned off and the engines being loud and all that good stuff. I've also done one before that, which involved me using a glorified video game to show you how the aero stuff for 2026 might not be all that, and how the FIA might have messed up bigly in the process. But now the FIA has come out and gone, right, we've basically got the blueprint of what is to come, even though they haven't officially signed off on it all yet, and that is expected to happen at the end of this month. But at least on paper, some of the 2026 regulations address some of the concerns that fans have about the cars being too big and too long and too heavy.
Oh no, don't say the tomato fish. Oh, that's not funny. At least I now know that one I don't have.
Well, all the other bits and pieces I like to complain about, really. And apologies if you don't actually see pictures of the proposed cars in this video. I've dug through the FIA's content usage policies and it says stuff about not using their stuff for commercial use, which I guess this is because, well, I make money off these videos with ads, Patreon and other stuff. But I think I have a way around it because, well, I might have actually driven these new cars, albeit virtually, so pictures are really just going to be placeholders using the current generation of cars and cars from the past for comparison for the most part, and Alamy hasn't got the renders yet. I know, it sucks, but I have to keep things legal after last time. Long story. You might be thinking, why are you telling us this? We're just here for your opinion rather than pretty pictures. It's because there's always one. If I get in before they do, they can't complain. Like and subscribe for more 1000 IQ moments. And when I say I've driven them already, albeit virtually, what I mean is the 2026 Formula 1 cars look eerily similar to a car that was released in R Factor 2 a few years ago. The rear wing assembly looks similar. The nose cone on the real car is a bit fatter, but I expect the teams to run something that might be a bit more aerodynamically efficient. The front wing is less anhedral than it is on the Formula Pro, and the floor is a bit smaller on the real car too. Then there's the simpler front wing assembly, and the rear wing marginally different too. The only difference is that the Formula Pro is powered by a 3-litre V10 and not a hybrid, but they're not that far removed at all. Even the paint job the FIA gave looks like the old Zancho colours. Memories. I might as well just use this for all the demo shots, but I'll find a way of figuring all this out. I have done in-depth bits on the actual engines before, but this is more to do with the changes to the actual cars and the rulebook to help facilitate overtaking and that kind of thing. So engines, that's somewhere else on the channel today, just the cars. It's been widely documented that the cars in Formula 1 now are too bulky, too heavy, too wide and produce too much dirty air. The FIA has used the phrase to ensure closer racing a lot in their press releases, and it's starting to become a phrase that there's going to be a lot of eye rolling over. Because how many times have we heard that phrase now over the last 5 or 6 years? They did several changes during the 2017 to 2021 regulations to try and reduce outwash, reduce this, reduce this, and this, and this, and this, but it didn't work. Tyres were still being shredded in dirty air and nobody could get close. So what happened then is the cars will be reduced in terms of the wheelbase from 3.6 metres to 3.4 metres, and the width will be reduced from 2 metres to 1.9 metres. Doesn't sound like a lot, I know, with the overall floor being reduced by 150 millimetres. In turn, the weight of the cars will be reduced by around 30 kilograms and downforce and drag will be reduced by about 30%. That might get some alarm bells ringing. What? 30% less downforce? The cars are going to be slow? No, they're just going to be slower than what they have been. They will still destroy an IndyCar around a track and utterly obliterate anything else below that. I think a lot of people will take being able to follow closely.
Särla tillverkas ansvarsfullt, nära dig. Särla, smart val.
Streama serier, film och sport på TV4 Play. Streama när du vill, hur du vill. TV4 Play, hela Sveriges streamingtjänst.
And actually be able to do some racing over more lap times. Most of the downforce loss has come in making the ground effect less powerful and also reducing the power of the diffusers. On top of this, the front wing will be 100mm narrower and will have a flap on it that will function a bit like DRS, which we will get to in a minute. But what is interesting to note here is that there will be less reliance on ground effect and diffuser performance, and that will mean that cars won't have to run as stiffly as they used to, which is a huge plus. The cars are sprung so stiffly to keep the ride heights and ground effect working optimally that cars are basically taking one line through corners and can't attack the curbing like they used to. See what happened when Alonso was forced wide by Ocon in 2022 at Brazil. He lost control on the curb and almost stacked it. Now, cars should be able to attack curbs better and the drivers shouldn't be getting their spines reduced to dust on bumpy tracks. What they're also hoping is that the cars will be able to run a bit more rake at the rear, which should help generate some extra turn-in and make the cars a bit more nimble in the corners. I know, it's just a video game, but there is a distinct difference in feel between a 2020 Formula 1 car and a 2023 one, like when I tried to throw a few around Silverstone in a what if it still had bridge corner video. Even though the 2020 cars were big and chunky, they could still turn. I suppose that's all the aero they had on tap at the time versus what they've got today. But the 2023 cars don't want to go in as hard into the corners and they just feel really sluggish. They felt worse to drive than a car from the late 90s or early 2000s, which had way less downforce available to them. They're just too big. But where the confusion begins for me is what the FIA is attempting to do to promote closer racing. On the FIA's official press release, which has been a big reference for this video, and I'll leave a link so you can go through it at your leisure, is the introduction of this active aerodynamics stuff, which I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, but what they're describing sounds like it's come straight out of F-Zero or Wipeout or something along those lines. Currently, Formula 1 cars have DRS, the drag reduction system, and it's simple enough to follow as to how it works. If you are within 1 second of a car at a certain trigger point on the track, you'll be able to use this tool down the next straight. The problem is, DRS in recent years means a slam dunk overtake at pretty much every track except for Monaco and Hungary. But without it, you're not going to see any action, as we saw when it broke at Abu Dhabi about 4 or 5 years ago, was it? So it's a necessary evil to keep people watching, but they overdid it. So it looks like for 2026, DRS will be out. Don't get too excited because it's being replaced with something called X-Aero and Z-Aero. Like I said, sounds like something out of F-Zero or
the Russia mode
or Star Wars. Lock the S-foils in attack position and so on. What these two things mean is that on straights, drag will be reduced and in the corners, drag will be turned up. That's pretty much it. In Z mode, as a car starts to enter a corner sequence like Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone for instance, the driver can press a button and the car will magically move the front and rear wings about to produce more grip through those corners. On faster sections, drivers can enter X mode and that will function much like DRS, but only in zones where the FIA thinks that using it will be safe. So it's kind of like DRS Plus. Imagine trying to throw a car through cops with the DRS open. You're going into a wall. But because the front and rear wing will be modified, it's not going to be as violent on the turn-in. The FIA reckons it will be allowed whenever a car is in a straight line for more than 3 seconds. And it will also be available when a car is within a second of the car in front. In certain corners like Curva Grande, I can imagine that it will also be available to help cars on the run up to a chicane or whatever. I think through turn 1 at Silverstone it might not be allowed because of how tight it is in comparison. It will sort of work similar to how the 2012 DRS rules were in qualifying. You could basically open it wherever you wanted so long as it was safe, like they didn't allow it in the tunnel for instance. But like I said, it's all very video game-like. The one thing the FIA hasn't said as of yet is how it will actually work. By that, I mean is, well, let's say you have 10 degrees on the front and 8 degrees on the rear of wing flap, that is. How much does it get upped by in Z mode to help with cornering, and how much is taken off in X mode when you're in a straight line? And on top of this, what are the rules of engagement? Let's say the car in the lead has been overtaken. When does the guy that's just been overtaken get to attack back? When can he activate X mode or Z mode? I have questions.
Yeah.
Also helping the cars will be the removal of the MGU-H. Okay, I said I was going to be mainly talking about the cars rather than the engines, but this leads me into something else. What this then does is it means there will be an increase in available battery power, which some people on the internet have taken, and some people on the internet have taken that as, we are making F1 electric. Somehow, I don't understand the mental gymnastics that allowed them to arrive at that conclusion either. But thanks to the different construction of the engines and the cars, the brakes are going to be doing a lot more recharging of the batteries through the kinetic energy recovery systems, which is basically standard for any hybrid car. It's just turned up to 11. The interesting part here is that drivers now have access to a manual override button to bring things back to the construction of the cars and the rules that we're going to bring in for 2026. When they press this button, they will get a boost of electrical power, much like they would have done with KERS in 2013 or just manual deploy on the ERS now. But what happens is, so long as they're within a second of the guy in front, they will get the boost. But as the car gets faster and faster and faster, the amount of boost will drop off. And I have actually found this bit quite interesting. So like I say, you're within a second of the car in front and you press the boost button. What you'll get is the maximum legal amount the battery can give you, which apparently is 470 horsepower. Although that 470 horsepower won't be used all the time, because the drivers need to manage the use of the hybrid across the per lap allocation and the actual amount of charge they've got in the battery already. I'll explain that in a minute. The FIA hasn't released the scaling yet, but apparently it's going to be the full lot available from about 180 miles an hour. So, what's that? 300k down to zero deployment at 220 miles an hour, or 355 kilometers an hour.
No, red.
Basically, it's a glorified push-to-pass system that IndyCar has and what DTM used to have. Where the concerns start to creep in is, will this just mean more slam dunk overtakes when they use it in conjunction with this X mode or whatever it's called?
Maybe.
Okay, they aren't using it until 180 miles an hour, which is pretty quick even by Formula 1 standards, but where are things going to start crossing over? And also remember that the cars are going to be less draggy in 2026, which means that any boost they're going to get is just going to amplify things a little more. So to explain the whole thing about the boost, I'll use this screenshot from the RSS Formula Hybrid car in Assetto Corsa. On the display on the wheel, you will see two bars, a blue one and a yellow one. Yellow is the overall state of charge for the battery, and blue is your allocation for the lap. So as long as there is yellow on that bar, you'll be able to use your lap allocation. If you use all the blue, the yellow won't go down. I hope that makes sense. And different deployment profiles are available so that you'll get varying amounts of deploy dependent on your speed and what you are doing. So for top speed mode, you'll get your hybrid deploy mostly at around 320 kilometers an hour to keep the speed up. And for others, it'll be focused more on the acceleration phase or be more balanced depending on what you select. It's a handful, but once you get your head around it and you know how much you're going to be using around a certain track, it's actually not too bad. But one thing that did catch my eye about all of this stuff for 2026 is that when these new regulations kick in, Formula 1 will not be burning any fossil fuels whatsoever. All the fuel is going to be synthetic. It's going to be made out of discarded foodstuffs. It's going to be made out of, like, municipal waste, I think was one of the things they got on there, or even extracted directly from the environment, so that when it's burned, it's not pumping loads of crap into the atmosphere and making
And all the airplanes that were flying everything, will they still do that?
Asthmatics like me, well, miserable. And because of all the research and development that's going into it, hopefully within the next 5-10 years, a lot of that will be passed back on to us. Because, let's face it, petrol is getting expensive. I filled up at the local supermarket on Tuesday at £1.42 per litre. That's $6.87 a gallon. Not as high as it was at the start of 2022 when it was about £1.80 a litre or $8.71 a gallon, but still expensive. Accelerating the research into synthetic fuels that are cleaner and contain less of the crap that gets thrown out into the atmosphere is a good thing, especially for those of us that live in urban areas, and congested urban areas like those seen in Britain and Japan and other places like that. And if the costs come down in turn of these fuels, even better. And the cleaner petrol we have, then people won't be less pressured into getting rid of their current cars and into hybrids and EVs. A term that the FIA has applied to this fuel is drop-in. What they mean by that is you can take the fuel out of Verstappen's Red Bull, out of Hamilton's Ferrari, out of Sainz's wherever he's going, and drop it straight into a 2006 Vauxhall Corsa. Well, once I've jump-started it because it needs a new battery, but you can put it into something as old as that. So on the face of it, there are things that do look good. Smaller wheelbases, slightly smaller tyres, which is something I didn't really get into, and the cars are just overall going to be smaller, as well as the bit about the fuel.
Only good.
That's actually interesting.
That's 100% good thing, making this car smaller.
But there are some things that will be okay, I'll believe it when I see it, or at least get more of a technical explanation on. The X and Z aero things, they feel too video gamey. The drivers are...
It's the Russia mode and the Twitter mode. Are you doing a tweet, or are you being a pro-Russia?
Got enough to do already, and it's probably going to take too much away from the driving. How much of this is going to be automated? Will the boost button plus the new take on DRS make things more of a slam dunk overtake than it already is? And other questions like that. But I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on things. Well, read them. But with 6 engine manufacturers on the grid for 2026, at least something looks healthy. The big question is, how much is the order going to get shaken up in 2026? Who knows? So then, a look at the new regulations for 2026 that the FIA recently released. If this has got your brain going, or you otherwise think I made some good points, then do like the video so I know a good job was done. And for more stuff like this, get subscribed with the bell on so you never miss out on anything else I do around here. Massive thanks to the fine bunch of lads over at Patreon for the continued support. And if you want to help keep things running around here, then a link to Patreon is in the description, along with links to Discord, socials, affiliate links, and other bits and pieces you might want or need to know. Or there's super thanks down there if you want to buy me a coffee, or memberships if that's more your thing, and just be a bit more overt with your support. So until next time, I've been Aidan Millward. Have a great day wherever you are, and goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. And I'm starting to get a feeling feel like I have had a dream where I died in Minecraft and lost all my levels. So depressing. Purple, orange. Purple, orange. Purple, orange, unite. And we remove this also. Cob, cob, cob. Light grey, red. Where should they be? Light grey, red. White, light. Oh, light grey also. White, light grey. No, that's the same. Boring. Do it. Okay, let's see. What do we have? The purple. Purple. No, orange. No. We need... Purple. Glitter purple. Glitter purple. Glitter purple. Glitter purple. Oh no. There it should be. Okay, what do we have next? Snooper. Light gray black. Nope. No. And then we go purple, yellow. Purple, yellow. Snooper. Purple, yellow. Yellow. Nice. And then we have purple, pink. Wait, purple. No, that's same. Gray, light blue. Light gray, white. Nope. Same. Yep. Time for spotty. Light blue, red. Light blue. Red. Blue, gray. Nope. Yellow, cyan. Cyan, magenta. Time for stripy, lime purple. magenta brown. Light gray black. Light gray black. Cyan red. Lime. Cyan red and lime. Cyan red. Oh fucking. Here we are. Didn't matter. Lime brown. Oh, let's see now. How many is it? 9, 15, 18. Oh! So 1401. So we got. So it's just minus 18. That's nice. Now just making sure. Pink, orange. Oh, this will be so boring with it because there's so many. God damn it. Red. There we have pink. Green. Oh, red. Green. Oh, pink. Oh, pink, orange, green, orange. White. White, gray. Gray, yellow. Cyan, light gray. So many blockfish I collected. Purple, orange. No, buy me purple cyan. Purple, cyan. Da, 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 da. Teen Titans running through the night. Light blue. Light blue, pink. Brown, lime. Brown, lime. White, light gray. Light gray, black. Purple, pink. Snooper, purple. Man, so many purple. Now what do we have? Snooper, purple. Clayfish, purple. Briny, purple. Flopper, purple. Ah, 4 different fishes with purple. Light gray, light gray, white. Blue gray. Magnata brown. Sign rod. Let's see, 9, 10, 16, 18. Oh, then minus 1. I believe it must be this glitter green. Yes. So it's minus 19 actually. 1,400 minus 90. So 1,400. Oh, wrong place. Now we can place them down and then we can end it. And tomorrow will the qualifying for Formula 1 and IndyCar happen. And hopefully practice 3 will have no water. It will be a dry practice. Yeah, we can start. Pink, orange, red, pink, green, orange, pink, orange, white, gray, gray, yellow, cyan, light gray, purple, orange, purple, cyan, light blue, pink, brown, lime, white, light gray, white, purple, pink, light gray, black, blue, gray, magenta, brown, and cyan, red. What more will happen? Oh, maybe some news about Williams and Carlos Sainz. Maybe some news on Andrew Newey. Maybe not. But we will see. We will see if that happens. Can we go get some extra fish for the collection? Doesn't look like that. So 1,000. Say 1,400. Write that down. 1,400. And then we say, yeah, hopefully a fun qualifying for IndyCar